Hi, this is Eddie Deason. You're listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall. I was Mandark in Dexter's laboratory. Ha 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 ha.
You are listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall on Realm of the Mist Entertainment. Hello everyone, and welcome to Breaking the Fourth Wall, the variety show with way more variety than it probably needs. And today is definitely a case of that. However, this guest today he's in all kinds of things. He got his fingers in a little bit of everything, and his name is Patrick Harney. How are you doing today, Pat?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Ray.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I like getting some variety around here and talking to new blood, as it were. So the first thing that I usually do on the show, and you know, I don't want to change things up, is have the guest kind of give a little bit of what they're into and what's going on with them right now.
Okay, yeah. So I am an actor and a producer. I'm currently living in Michigan. And I started off in musical theater, and I just kind of worked my way. You know, I did that for about 6 years, and I decided to kind of switch over to film and see how I could hold my own with that. And I ended up really liking it. So I've been doing film for the last 4.5 years or so, soon to be 5. So. Wow. I actually have a feature film that'll be coming out. It's called Scapegoat. That'll be coming out hopefully toward the beginning of this next year. And then I've got a feature film that I'm also in called The Denny Dooley Story. That'll be coming out probably late next year. And then I'm going to be acting and producing on a project. It's called Locker 42. We just finalized the script literally yesterday. So we will be starting the, kind of the breakdowns of that and kind of working our plans for finding the budget and all that stuff. I'll be playing one of the lead characters in the film, as well as producing. So it's nice to kind of dive into the behind the scenes side of it and kind of help work help move the trajectory of the project along. And, other than just acting in it, it's nice to kind of be able to throw some ideas out there and kind of work with some of the fellow producers and the director and also the writer as well. So I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. That sounds like you got a busy schedule.
Yeah, I'm a pretty busy guy, thankfully, but I am looking to get busier. So
yeah.
always looking for work,
Always, you got to keep those avenues open. So you said you did musical theater for what was it, 6 years, right?
I did, yeah. I started actually when I was in 8th grade. It was my very first show.
Oh wow!
And it was
starting them young.
It was funny. Yeah. Well, it was funny because I had no desire to go and do the musical at all. I was the sports guy at that point. I played football, I played basketball, I ran track. I wasn't trying to do any of that. Just one, because I didn't have any time. But two, I was a sports guy. So, but then a friend of mine had just kept bugging me and said, hey, you should go out for the musical. And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, just do it. Just try it. Audition. It'll be fine. So I went and auditioned. And the song, just to give you an idea of how little I cared, the song that I auditioned with was Santa Claus Is Coming to Town.
Okay.
Had no desire really at all. And then they offered me one of the lead roles in it. And I was like, well, okay, well, it's during basketball season, so I can't do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, well, we'll work around it. I was like, geez. So they basically gave me every reason,
Yeah.
to say yes. And I tried it, and and the bug bit me, and so then the next year we did The Wizard of Oz, and I played a Munchkin, which is interesting because I'm 6'4". So so I played a Munchkin, and what we did is we just had we had these office chairs that we took the backs off of. We had these big like hoop skirts, and we strapped our arms to our bodies, so we would just roll around, and it looked like we had tiny little arms. And so that was fun. And then we did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, wow.
We did Damn Yankees, Kiss Me Kate. That was all through high school. And then my freshman year of college, I did a local community theater show called Dogfight with Peppermint Creek Theater, and I absolutely loved that show. However, I had done stage, and I kind of wanted to dive into some film, so I decided to kind of take a step back from the stage and dive more into movies and short films and series and all that stuff. However, I do think next year I'm going to try to get back up on the stage just because I've been missing it. And so we'll see about that. But so I got a lot going on. I'm trying to keep everything straight, and also trying to, as I said before, secure even more work because longevity is key, I guess.
Yeah. From everybody that I've talked to, patience is also key, and it sounds like you have quite a bit of that because you've lasted this long, which is quite a bit longer than most.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that.
Yeah. I've kind of had to learn the patience portion the hard way.
Oh.
So, but that's all right though. It's good, and it builds character, and more things have come. It's funny because the more and more I've pushed to try and get work. If I'm sitting here and I'm getting kind of antsy, if you will, and I'm just saying, I want to work more. And so I'm actively just like really searching for another job. Nothing ever comes. But then the second that I kind of back off a little bit, that's when auditions start coming. And, start talking about projects. So yeah, I've definitely had to learn the hard way. But
well, isn't that weird how life works sometimes, though? But that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So you said that you got bit by the bug during all of that, and during your high school days, and you'd gotten into this and everything. So let me ask you this. If somebody came up to you, just any director, and they said, all right, I'm going to put you in whatever movie you want to be in, what would your ideal role be?
Oh, geez. I mean, how long do we have? Man, that's a heavy question, man.
I like to ask the hard hitting questions around here.
Yeah, geez. Let's see. The ideal role. I think I would. All right, this is going to sound super cheeseball and super cliche, but I think the ideal role that I would want to play is it's not a specific character, but somebody that I think somebody that can create some sort of inspiration for someone.
Oh, okay.
However, has a good amount of fight in him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess the best way that I can describe that, if you're going to put it in terms of a character, would be Hugh Jackman's P.T. Barnum in The Greatest Showman.
Oh,
He gave a great mix of, never giving up hope and always, pushing to try to achieve the goals and the dreams that he's had, but yet isn't afraid to stick it to the man, if you will, almost kind of enjoys it because at the end of the day, he knows that he will appeal to the masses, and he'll give people what they really want, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
see, that's perfect.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh, man.
would you rather be
That's hard.
doing like theater shows, or would you rather be doing? I know you said you're looking for pretty much anything, but would you rather be doing theater if you had to choose between? Okay, I've got a theater show, or I have an actual movie filming. Which one do you think you would prefer to do if you had to pick one of those two?
If I had to pick one of those two, I would say film.
Okay. Is there
Yeah, I would say
any
film.
particular reason for that?
Well, see, I don't know. See, that's the thing, though. Is there two very different? They're two very different styles of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Theater, you'll hear a lot that theater is the actor's medium, whereas film is the director's medium.
Okay.
So, and what I mean by that is for the actors, the director, they come in, they rehearse, they work with you during rehearsals and they push and push. But then once that curtain opens, the director's not doing anything anymore. At that point, it's in the hands of the actor. And the actor goes out and they may try some new things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they, at that point, they are in control. Whereas for a film, it's very much a director's medium in the sense of, yes, the actor comes and performs. However, if the director doesn't get exactly what he's looking for in a take, that's when you do more takes, and you do more takes. And then at the end of it, the director has final say on the cut, I mean, sometimes you'll hear, like, take, for example, Jared Leto in Suicide Squad. He filmed like an hour and a half's worth of footage in that character. And when he saw the final cut, it was a completely different movie than he thought it was going to be. And a lot of his stuff got cut by the director, and so yeah, so it's very different. However, what I love about film is that you can try things. You can try new things. You can, you can do a scene and it'll go, you can do it one way and it sets the tone a certain way, but then if you try it a completely different way, then the tone completely changes for the film. So that's what's kind of cool about it for me. And I also like a lot of the technical side, whereas on the theater side, it's just, you got one shot on the night and that's it,
Right, yeah.
And also too, I'm a lot more relaxed with film. Anytime I do a show, like a musical or whatever, on the day of the show, I wouldn't be able to eat all day. I just before we go out, I would always get like viciously nervous, borderline nauseous. Just I'd have to like isolate myself just to try to calm myself down.
Oh my goodness.
Just because I put a lot. I'm one of those. I mean, I put a lot of pressure on myself anyway. I mean, I'm my own worst critic, if you will.
Yeah.
And but then the second I step on the stage, everything's fine. It's just that those few moments leading up to the show that I'm just like, oh, I absolutely dread. But there's also nothing like a live audience, and feeding off the energy that they give in response to certain lines in the show or certain songs in the show. Whereas for a film, you go do your performance, and then like a year later, or sometimes 2 years later, then people finally see it, and you finally get their reaction. So it's a very different thing.
Oh, well, all right then. There you go. So, do you have
long story long, I guess.
No, it was perfect. Do you have a favorite genre that you like to stick to, or that you would like to do?
I would love to do a World War II film.
Oh.
I would absolutely love to do a World War II film. That's like my dream kind of film. I'm a big fan of like Saving Private Ryan, Fury, Hacksaw Ridge, like those movies. those movies are just so good
Yeah.
because I don't know. There was just I think, and I'm not. This isn't to get political at all. I'm not trying to do that, but I think But I think during that time there was so much, and I think there is some of it now. But with the way that the media and everything is, it just kind of kind of puts a blanket over it. But I think back then there was so much pride. Um, there was so much pride to for your country and.
Right.
And I think, and my family, I've had a lot of family members in the military. My grandfather was in World War II. I had a grandfather who was in the Korean War, and my brother fought over in Afghanistan. My brother-in-law fought in Iraq. So, I've got a big respect for the military and soldiers, and whoever puts their life, on the line to make sure that I can live the way I live. That's tops, man. You have all my respect and more. And I don't know. I feel like back then there was such a pride, a pride in the U.S. and it almost seemed like everybody it just banded together, to fight and try to protect, what we have. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like you don't see that much anymore.
Right. Yeah, it really was. It seemed like the world banded together either on one side or the other.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That'd be cool. I think I'd like to see you in a movie like that.
Well, thank you.
So,
Hopefully one day,
yeah. So if you had to choose kind of along those same lines of picking one or the other, if somebody said, "All right, look, you can either act in this movie or you can produce this movie, which would you prefer to do?"
Oh, acting, for sure. That's my number one, and it'll always be my number one.
Mm-hmm.
I just because I love being able to dive into the shoes of someone else, and kind of try to see how their mind may work, and kind of help create a character just off of some words on a page. That's I'm a very creative kind of mind,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's like the ultimate. I'm like a kid in a candy store when you give me a character to try and build. I mean, producing's cool, but it's very much the business side of it, and which is fine, and I like that too. But ultimately, I'd like to say without sounding too cheese ball, but I'd like to think of myself as more of an artist, and um, you know, at the end of the day, I want to create, and I want to entertain, and I want to also selfishly, I like the fact that I get to do something different every day. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to every day on set is a new day, and you're doing new things.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, it's funny to me because, and I will be honest. I mean, I do have a survival job right now,
Hey,
until
you can't
I'm able
knock
to
that.
support myself. No, and I don't at all. And that's the other thing is I have a huge amount of respect for those who pick careers in business and work that 9 to 5, because I know personally, like mentally, I couldn't do it. I mean, I would, my brain would go nuts. I don't have the willpower like some do, and and the attention to be able to do a lot of that stuff. I gotta have creative outlets, and I gotta have a change with each day. So
That's cool. That's cool. Total cheese sauce, but that's cool.
yeah, I know. Yeah, you're not kidding. I'm
No, that's
gonna punch
respectable.
myself in the face after hearing all that.
No,
But
no, not at all. That there's definitely people out there that fall into those roles and have that creative artistic side, and without them we wouldn't have movies, we wouldn't have entertainment in general. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely It's not cheesy at all. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Well,
But
the way I see it is that everybody, at the end of the day, everybody wants to be entertained,
oh,
and
absolutely.
everybody wants to, look at the Great Depression. I mean, my grandma, she lived in the during the Great Depression, and she said that, yeah, things were bad, but people would still save up, a nickel to go to the movies,
Right.
because it's a way for people to escape, reality, and which is awesome, which is why I think, which is another reason why I think I really, really enjoy it, is because, I can help allow people to kind of get away for a little while and just sit back and enjoy something. If you can
Yeah.
sit there for a couple hours and, get your brain moving and, laugh and cry and, smile, whatever, then I did my job.
There you go. For a couple hours, you help somebody feel a little bit better. That's perfect.
Hopefully. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
So speaking of giving you a hard time, you were saying that back in high school you were into the whole jock scene there for a while, and you went for the. So how did that all play out after? I'm sure your buddies had some stuff to say about that once you got into the theater side, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was, I was. People used to call me Troy Bolton, from High School Musical, because I was captain of the basketball team and I was also the lead in the musical. But
That's
honestly
awesome.
though, I'm very proud of, uh, and in an effort to not sound, cocky, I genuinely am very proud of the work that I did in high school, just because I really busted my tail to try and make, basketball and, the musical work and choir work.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of starting to do it at a time that you couldn't really do both. And if you did, it was very, very difficult.
I
But
see.
what's cool though is, by the time I was a senior in high school, um, I'm happy to say that when I was a senior in high school, there was 9 guys on the freshman basketball team that all decided to go out for choir.
Oh wow.
And
Started a trend.
whereas with my grade, there was just me and one other friend of mine that were in
Oh,
choir.
I see. I see
Um,
now.
so I think, hopefully I was able to show, some people in the grades below me or whatever, that you can do both, and that you can make it work, and you can be successful at both, if you want to put in the work. Yeah, yeah. So all of the the teasing, or the ragging on me or whatever, it didn't really, yeah, it was funny and whatever, but didn't really I didn't really care too much about it, just because I was just so focused on what I wanted to do that, if they wanted to give me a hard time, they give me a hard time. I don't care, whatever.
Well, at least it sounds like you took it in stride and you did what you wanted to do, and look at you now. So
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
That's good stuff. Uh, so I gotta ask you one more question here as we start to get towards the end. This
hmm
one might require a little thought, or maybe you've already thought of it before, and you'll be able to just blurt it right out there. But if somebody came along and said, "All right, look, Pat, we're making a movie about your life, and we need to know who you think the perfect actor to portray you would be,"
Let's
who would you
see.
throw out there? Okay, so you haven't
Um,
thought of it before. That's all right.
no, I have not thought about this.
That's all right. That's
But
cool.
honestly though, I mean, I'm only 23 years old. I turned 24 this month.
Nice.
Um, I think I would tell them not to make that movie yet.
Okay, that's fair.
I think I would tell them not to make that movie yet, because hopefully give it another 20 years, 30 years, hopefully that movie will be a lot more exciting than what it would be now.
I think you cut yourself short.
Well, no, not necessarily. I've got some pretty big goals, and you know, I think I mean I've had an exciting life so far. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't had a good life. I've been very blessed. But yeah, I guess if you really wanted to like narrow it down to somebody, oh boy. Well, I guess it's got to be somebody that can sing too. I'm not saying I could sing, but somebody that could at least hold a tune.
That's
Man,
fair.
oh my gosh.
There's only one correct answer here. It'd be you.
At that,
You
I was
would
gonna
be.
say, at that point, I'd say screw it. Just let me do it.
There
You know?
you go. Yeah. Yeah. You could pick
Yeah,
anybody. You pick yourself.
yeah, yeah.
Again, that's
Yeah,
probably the cheesy way
kind of
out. But
shooting myself in the foot. I guess I'd be shooting myself in the foot if I chose somebody else. But
no, you've taken it all in stride, and you know you sound like a great guy. You know, this is the first time I've spoke to you, and I already like you. I'd like to see what you can do in the future and what you've done in the past. If there was a way to see that on the internet, watching you up on stage, that would be awesome. Dogfight
yeah,
actually
yeah.
kind of appealed to me. I think just the name of it kind of made me want to go and check that out. But
Well,
so,
actually, there is on YouTube. You can look up Jana Katz, Katz. She played the role of Rose in that show. She has a YouTube channel, and she basically has the whole show pretty much broken up into chunks on YouTube. So,
oh, there you go.
So there you go. If you wanted to watch it, then there you are.
Yeah, see, and that's the perfect segue into the next part as we draw to a close. I was gonna have you go through and kind of say maybe if there's anywhere where people can go to follow you and see what you're up to. Let you go ahead and get that out there so people can get on board.
Yeah, definitely. So I am on Facebook. I've got an actors page on Facebook. That would be the at official P Harney, and then I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at P Harns 194. So PHARNS 194, no E. But yeah, and I'm always trying to keep updates and everything with newer projects, and yeah. So you can find me on there, and then also, of course, you can find me on IMDb to keep up with all of the projects that are coming.
That's awesome, and I will definitely be one of the people going out and getting on those social media sites and following you right along. You just getting in. Sounds like you're still a super young guy. You got a long ways to go in your career, and I'd like to see how that all plays out. So I
Well,
just want
thank
to
you.
say thank you very much for coming on the show and talking with me and putting up with my crap. It's been a good talk.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate your time, and yeah, man, I'd like to do it again sometime for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I transition over to video, I would definitely like to get you back on here, get your face out there so everybody can see it. So when you're back on,
Definitely.
everybody better listen.
There you go.
So, without further ado, I will let you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of Breaking the Fourth Wall. Thank you, and we'll see you later. That's it for today's show, ladies, gentlemen, and anything around or in between. Another great interview. Remember, I'm Ray, and this has been Breaking the Fourth Wall. Check me out at Chronicles of the Lost Realm on YouTube, Anchor, and Instagram. I can also be found on War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Become a Patreon to help us provide even more content and quality entertainment for you. All of our shows can be found on Anchor.fm or wherever podcasts can be heard. Breaking the Fourth Wall is a Realm of the Mist affiliate.